Hey, this is Fred and welcome to The Shed. Today I felt like telling stories and we're going to talk about my 5 most memorable concerts I've ever played in my life. Before we get started, please click subscribe and make sure you like the video. Over the past year, our little community here has been growing, and that's thanks to you guys for being here and helping me spread the word about all the things we're doing on the channel. So thank you. Now, there are certainly more than 5 memorable shows that come to mind for me. I remember my very first show in high school playing with my band Stickman. I remember the basement shows on my very first tour with my band Brody. And I even remember a Breaking Pangea show in Little Rock, Arkansas, where the promoter forgot to announce the show and not one person showed up. That was memorable. But today I want to talk about the good times, some of the best days of my life, where some really special things happen. So let's get into it. So in early summer of 2003, I was playing in Breaking Pangea. We were supposed to go out on a tour opening for Brand New, and this was a really big deal for us. We had just gotten off tour opening for Taking Back Sunday, and Brand New had asked us out next, and that tour was going to be great. But right before that tour happened, I was talking to Eddie Reyes, and Taking Back Sunday was supposed to be on the Warped Tour. They had just lost their guitarist, John, and Eddie was offering me the position. As you know, Warped Tour was a very special thing at this time. I had never had the chance to play Warped Tour. Breaking Pangea had played a lot of festivals, but Warped Tour was definitely on another level for me. The thought of playing in Taking Back Sunday was exciting enough, but the idea that my very first shows with them would be on the Warped Tour was pretty exciting as well. Then on top of that, what made it even more special was the first date we played was in my hometown of Philly. It was also Matt Rubano's first time playing bass with the band, and he and I still talk about how crazy it was that first day, that first night we went on, and we were the last band of the night. The sun was setting. And we walked out to 22,000 people basically playing these songs for the first time and having the entire crowd sing every word. It just was insanity. It was like a whole new thing for me, like a new chapter of my life. It was so crazy. So the next show for me that was a huge deal happened in the September right after the Warped Tour. We had been asked to play one date with Blink-182. Playing with a band like that was definitely the biggest thing Taking Back Sunday had done up to that point. Blink-182 was on the radio all the time. They were huge. It was just a whole level that we had not touched yet. And I have the poster here still. This is the date. And it was in San Diego, and it was basically just us and Blink-182. It was a benefit concert in a very undersized venue. It was pretty small. And there were 2 things amazing about that night. One was, meeting Blink obviously changed our lives. It led to a tour the next year. And many tours after that of us crossing paths.
I really believe in those guys. I think that they're
hey,
songwriters.
Hey, look at me.
Oh, look at you.
Look at me. Talk about the support.
Yeah. You see, when a handsome guy like Mark is like wearing this, and you know the band's taking off.
The other big deal of the night was something that happened to me personally. We showed up early for the show. And, we were excited to see if we were going to meet Blink or if they were going to talk to us at all even. So we're there really early and we're watching Blink's crew set up their equipment. And Mark and Travis come in. Travis gets behind the drum kit and starts messing around. And they look like they're going to sound check, and we're getting pretty excited. One of their roadies yells out, does anyone here know how to play guitar on any Blink songs? It turned out that Tom DeLonge was super sick that day, and he was still going to play the show, but he couldn't make sound check. So they wanted to know if someone could sit in just for sound check. And our manager was there, and she was like, Fred, because they all knew that before I was in Taking Back Sunday, I was touring with my band Breaking Pangea, but my job was like teaching guitar lessons. So I had taught Blink-182 songs for years to hundreds of kids, and I knew them all. So I went up on stage, and they handed me Tom's guitar, and I was playing through his amp, which was a Mesa Boogie thing at the time. This really cool rig, actually. I remember Travis's kit was acrylic, and it was like gold colored. And basically, they said, "What song do you know?" And we started playing "What's My Age Again." Mark sang it, and I was playing guitar. I'm staring at Travis playing the drums, and I just can't believe I'm part of a three-piece with those two guys playing these songs. It was mind-blowing. I wish I could go back and do it again, honestly. So the next crazy concert experience I want to talk about happened in December of 2004, and it involved My Chemical Romance. And I'll just let the video show you what happened.
Listen, some of our best friends in the world are here, including a band called My Chemical Romance. Yes. And unfortunately, those dudes couldn't play today because their singer had a throat problem.
Yes, Gerard, what happened was, we've all been on tour for so long, and one's throat can only, hold up for so long. So that's what happened, but here's what we're gonna do right now.
Here's what we're gonna do.
Tell them, Fred.
These dudes, this is My Chemical Romance.
Welcome My Chemical Romance to the stage, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, hold up. That's Ray Toro from My Chemical Romance tuning up my SG, this one right here. And I often forget how many cool people played this guitar. I love this guitar. And I couldn't believe that when I saw him tuning that, because I would have never remembered that he played my guitar. So pretty sweet. All right, go ahead.
And they're gonna give us a song right now. And Mr. Adam here, and maybe some other people are going to help him with the lyrics. Will you help us sing this song? Then here it goes.
All right, you know what happened next. You can go look up that video if you want to watch it. It's Adam and I singing, and it was a really fun, special day, and I'm really glad it happened. So this next story starts all the way back in 1993. I was in my first year of college, and I wanted to go see a band called Green Day. They were playing a tiny bar in Philly called J.C. Dobbs. It held 125 people. Now, Green Day was pretty much unknown, but a lot of people did show up to see them, and so many that the fire department shut down the show. It got kind of messy. Green Day kind of kept playing, trying to not stop the show. The police came, and there were a bunch of fights outside. It became pretty stressful. So I was happy to get back to my car and leave town. I went out to the suburbs to my girlfriend's house to hang out for the night. And when I got there, the phone rang, and it was my best friend Pat telling me that Green Day was at his apartment and that I should come down and hang out. And I was like, dude, that show was so stressful. I just got here. I'm not turning around and driving back to Philly. And the drummer of Green Day, Trey Cool, gets on the phone, and he's like, yo, Pat said you know how to play Hot for Teacher. And Pat had a drum set and some amps set up in the basement of his apartment. It was like a row home. And they wanted me to come down and jam with Trey Cool. And I did not do that. I just didn't feel like it at the time. And I know what you're thinking. I regret that decision to this day. But it was 1993. I didn't know that they were going to be the biggest band in the world. I didn't know that that was... let's take a moment. So 12 years later in 2005, Mark O'Connell, me, and my friend Pat are walking down the street in Amsterdam. And who do we run into? Trey Cool and Mike Dirnt from Green Day. They both remember my buddy Pat, and we start talking to them. We tell them when we're in Taking Back Sunday. And a few months later, they invite us to open up for them. I don't know if the two things are connected. I think they are. But in June of 2005, we get asked to play the mother of all Green Day shows. We're going to play 2 dates in the UK at Milton Keynes Bowl for their Bullet in a Bible live album. And it was 2 nights, 65,000 people per night. The biggest shows we had ever played. And it was a UK opener, then we played, then Jimmy Eat World, then Green Day. And the beautiful thing about this story is that night, Billy Joe came over to hang out with us. And he was the nicest, sweetest guy. And I asked him if he remembered my buddy Pat. And he talked about that show and the shows at that time. And it was really nice to finally connect in that way. It took, I went the long route. I should have just went down that night and jammed with Trey Cool, but I eventually got there. So the last show that really meant a lot to me was when I was playing in the Color Fred, and Coheed and Cambria was playing their Never Ender dates in New York City, where they were playing their albums front to back, and it was the first time they were going to play Second Stage Turbine, their first album, front to back, and they asked me to open acoustic. And that really hit home for me because I met Coheed and Cambria in my early days of touring, and we were on Equal Vision Records when I was in Breaking Pangea. They had just signed Coheed, and Equal Vision asked if Breaking Pangea would bring Coheed out on the road. And so the first time Coheed left New York was with us. And I was always really proud of that because I realized on that tour how amazing they were. I remember playing a basement in Iowa and watching them play in a basement to very few people, and just realizing that I was witnessing something special, and that the way those guys played together was gonna go somewhere. And it was like, shit, like, and I also realized that I was lucky to be able to watch them every night, and it felt so good. And then they blew up, and you never know if someone's gonna remember you after they're famous. Will they remember the early days, or will they just move on? So when they asked me to open that show, it was a really big deal to me. I was actually on tour with the Color Fred down in Texas, opening for Emory and Hawthorne Heights, and I flew home on a day off to play that show, and then flew back to the tour. And that was a freaking thrill. And in a way, it also made me get my acoustic game together. Playing with a band for me is a lot easier than playing acoustic. When you go out acoustic, there's no one to lean on. There's no one to cover up the mistakes. It's just you completely naked out there. But that show was amazing, and it kind of gave me the confidence to keep going with it as a solo artist. And so I would still thank those guys to this day for asking me to play that show. So thanks for watching my 5 most memorable concerts I've played. Hopefully we can get out there and play more concerts sometime soon. In the meantime, the Color Fred, my band, is putting out 1 new song a month for all of 2021. So please check those out, and please click subscribe to the channel. We got lots more coming every week. Thanks a lot, guys. See you on the next one.